This is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
And welcome to The Drive. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and it is a Friday. It's the first Friday of free agency.
It is first Friday of the year.
So some of the smoke is beginning to clear here from the first wave, and this is just the first wave of free agency. There are plenty of players still out there who are going to play in the NFL this year. So, Matt, I thought we would take a look at the biggest contracts that have been handed out yet.
Yeah, let's do it.
And we'll look at these as average per year, because a lot of them we don't know the particulars yet. You know,
and what's crazy is
there's funny money involved. Sometimes.
Some of these. Look, I had a good conversation the other day. Like these true free agent contracts, what percentage of them does the player see every dollar of? It's pretty low.
Low.
I mean, it's really low.
These are not. This is not
Right.
baseball. This is not hockey. This
No.
is not the NBA. These are not fully guaranteed unless
Right.
they say fully guaranteed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's way under 50%.
So at quarterback, you have Sam Darnold at $33.5 million per year.
Per year. Okay.
That's your first team player. The second team player would be Justin Fields at $20 million per year. And here's the thing. I was reading more about that today. And really what Fields' contract is a 1-year, $30 million deal.
I saw the same. Maybe I saw the same thing because it's like a 2-year, 20 per, but 30 is guaranteed. So he's getting 30, but if he's not good, he's not getting the last 10.
And I don't care. Somebody on our message board today on YouTube was, the Steelers don't want to pay for a young player. I'm not paying $30 million for Justin Fields.
I mean, if it really is, which it is. I mean, I wish I knew more about contracts.
Just because the Jets did it doesn't mean that it's right.
Right. That's if your friend jumps off a bridge, right, that whole thing. But 1 year, $30 million guaranteed is basically what the contract is, with an option to pick up the next 10.
Right.
I mean, which is a good deal if he's great. But I'm not signing him to a 1 year.
If
30.
he's great, though, he's going to want.
And then you're going to do it again.
He's going to want more next. After
this.
this. Well, I've only got 1 year left. Let's talk new
talk
contract.
again. Right. And he's very unproven. I mean, very
much
unproven.
so.
Right. There's a lot he needs to improve upon.
Sam Darnold is more proven.
I think
right now than him.
Yeah, all around. I would rather have if you told me the Steelers could mimic one of those two contracts, I'd take Darnold for the buck. I don't love either.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I think Darnold still struggles with pressure. I don't know that either one's going to be super successful in their new building either.
And folks, before you start going, well, you said don't follow what the Jets do, but the Steelers may sign Aaron Rodgers. The Jets traded for Aaron Rodgers.
They gave up a lot.
They gave up a lot of draft picks and then gave him a bunch of money.
A couple of years ago too. I mean, times have changed, right?
And they gave up second round picks and stuff that are valuable for a 2-year rental.
Yeah,
really
a
1 year. They got 1 year out of him.
They unfortunately gets hurt.
Yeah,
4 plays into his Jets tenure, but they didn't know that. They also had more options at the time too.
Right.
I mean, there's not much out there right
now. At running back, Aaron Jones, $10 million a year.
Okay.
Najee Harris got his base is $5.3 million.
And I think there's a lot of incentives there. He can get up
he can get up to 9.2.
Okay. That's kind of the going rate. I mean, Jones is a good player. I mean, I give Minnesota credit for not – if you're going to let Darnold walk, they went out and totally rebuilt their interior O-line and D-line and kept Jones. I mean, that's nice work considering you've no day 2 picks.
At wide receiver, there's 6 of these guys listed here. They haven't broke it down to first team, second team. This is a thing the NFL put out today.
Okay.
Chris Godwin at $22 million a year.
Apparently he turned down a lot more from New England and others because he's worth more than that.
Devontae Adams was $22 million per year on average.
He's not coming here, folks. I mean, he wanted to go to the West Coast. I mean, I would have gladly given him $22 million, but that's not in the cards. I mean, it's a two-way street.
Darius Slayton was $12 million a year to stay with the Giants. And then your second team guys, Josh Palmer, Tutu Atwell, and Diami Brown all got $10 million a year each.
Mm-hmm. The Tutu Atwell one I don't understand at all. I mean, he's their third or fourth guy at best.
Kind of a jag.
Yeah, he's tiny.
That would be, I mean, no offense to Calvin Austin, but
Similar. I'd rather have Austin.
I'd rather have Austin.
I think he's more
he returns
well-rounded.
punts and does that. Tutu Atwell doesn't do any of that stuff.
No.
And you're giving him $10 million.
Austin's more physical. He's more of a well-rounded receiver, too.
Yeah.
Remember Jeremy Fowler told us he thought the fast guys would get a little more than you thought. I think that's kind of true. I mean, Denami Brown, and Slayton are downfield players,
Yeah.
And I think they're good. I'm shocked Slayton went back to the Giants. Seemed like they were getting divorced for 3 years.
Yeah, right. Had him on a trading block.
Yeah.
At tight end, Evan Ingram, $11.5 million.
I think that's kind of a steal, to be honest with you.
And Jawan Johnson, 10.3.
I don't know where the Saints get their money, but whatever, right.
At offensive tackle, you've got Dan Moore at $20.5 million.
It sounds insane, but look at the free agent offensive linemen in general that are to pick from. There's nothing out there, let alone left tackles.
A guy who is a pure left tackle.
Right.
The other guy was Alaric Jackson at $19.3 million.
See, I bet he's kicking himself. He made 19. He's doing fine. Don't get me wrong. But, you watch Dan Moore and Jalen Moore sign huge contracts, and Jackson's the better player of them, but he re-signed before free agency hit. Now, he's probably happy where he's at and didn't want to deal with the free agency nonsense,
At guard, Aaron Banks got $19.3 million.
That just screams he will not see the end of that contract.
Never.
Yeah, never.
Never.
He's fine. James Daniels a better player.
Yeah. Patrick McCarry got 12.5.
He's a Jag.
I can't remember where he signed.
I think so.
But yeah, he's a Jag. You're
well,
right.
he is a Jag, but yeah, he's a multi-purpose Jag. But now I think plays for the Jags. Yeah.
Yeah. At center, Drew Dahlman got $14 million.
He benefited from being the only center available
Yeah.
too, and the Bears wanting to rebuild their entire interior line.
Ryan Kelly got 9.
Up in age, a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will Fries at the other guard spots. Will Fries got 17.5. Kevin Zeitler got 9.
Fries is maybe the best deal of the group, and it's still an overpay. At least he's younger.
Yeah. And then
Zeitler's solid. I like what Tennessee did. Those are two kind of really expensive O-line contracts, but if you're going to draft a quarterback first overall, give him some protection.
And then your other tackles were Ronnie Stanley at $20 million and Jalen Moore at 15.
Yeah. Moore played so little. He's a third-string guy, but he's a talented upside dude. I saw today that, just pure dropbacks, no play action, no nonsense. He had, 90 snaps of those last year. That's the Chiefs went off.
Yeah.
And you better have some inside scoop there.
The interesting thing about this, Matt, is we've talked about the fifth-year option.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the money these guys got, the tackles, your top two tackles both got 20 or more.
The 20, yeah.
Your guards got 19.3 and 17.5.
Mm-hmm.
The top center, Dahlman, got 14.
Just back to the Linderbaum conversation.
It's the Linderbaum conversation.
Right.
Yeah, we talk about other teams in the division.
Mm-hmm.
This is what
Tampa Bay's going to have to deal with this in 3 years.
Right, yeah.
With Barton.
Yeah.
Because he's a really good player, too. You're not going to lose
you took him in the first round, and the problem for the Ravens is going to be they've got Linderbaum and Hamilton.
So Linderbaum will be 25, right?
25.
Same as if he's Penei Sewell, basically.
Yeah.
Right. That's sticky.
That's tough. You can't, and unless you can convince the player, hey, but this is the center market. This is what we want to sign you to. We want to give you $15 million a year. We want to make you
which is
the highest paid center in the league.
But Linderbaum's agent's not doing his job if he doesn't say this.
But if I do this,
I get 25 guaranteed
I get
for
25.
a year. That's at least the jumping off point. Is I want 25.
But any contract that you sign, you're going to say, yeah, but I get 25.
Right. Or I get to test the market.
This one goes to 11.
Right,
yeah.
right. Your two options are either don't pick up the fifth-year option, and then I'm going to get way more than this dude on the open market, or pick up the fifth-year option, I'm getting 25 guaranteed.
Yeah.
So if we can talk Ravens, but if I'm going to sign a 2-year deal with you, I want 25 guaranteed no matter what. Whether it's over 1 year, 2 year, or whatever, 25.
Well, actually, 25 plus the
next year and the salary,
the first
too.
salary.
Right.
You're
That's
probably
sticky.
closer to 30.
I would think. Yeah, I would think.
Guaranteed.
Give me a 2-year, $45 million deal, but 30 of it's guaranteed. It's a lot.
It's a lot for a center.
It's a lot.
and he's in a situation where he said, I don't care if your kitchen burned, pay me.
Yeah, oh yeah, I don't care. You get hit by lightning? Yeah,
Pay me,
right.
Looking at the defensive side of things, your edge rushers, Josh Sweat got $19.1 million. Khalil Mack got $18.
Was this a one-year deal? I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
You go back. Mack's worth it.
The backups, Chase Young at $17 million, and Deo, whose name I cannot pronounce.
Goes from Colts to Bears.
Yeah, gets $16 million.
I liked what the Bears did on their interior O-line, but the D-line spending to me was
insane.
Extravagant and for normal average players or declining players.
The interior defensive lineman, Milton Williams, got $26 million.
Mm-hmm. I think he's becoming an exceptional player. He's just starting to hit his stride.
He's still a part-time player.
Well, the thing is, yeah, I know. And the Patriots, where are you going to put your money? I mean, they had too much to spend. I mean, their wallets were too full, and there weren't offensive linemen to go get. There weren't
basically
really
bid against themselves on that one. $26 million?
It's a ton.
Osa Odigizua got $20 million.
Stay with the Lions. He won't see the end of that.
Yeah. Jonathan Allen got $17 million, and Tershawn Wharton got $15 million.
Allen's the one I would be interested in that number. It's a little high, but I would be interested in that number. Wharton's okay. I mean, he doesn't change.
Honestly, I think perhaps the Steelers would have done something on the interior defensive or brought in a defensive lineman, but not at those prices.
I say, who are you happy with that number?
You're paying
Allen's the one to even consider
horse prices for a Chrysler.
No, I know.
That's not good business.
You
could have just kept Ogunjobi if you're going to do that. He was still cheaper.
Right. Yeah. The thing I don't quite understand, nor I probably ever will, is just how fast inflation comes in because the cap's growing so fast. But it doesn't matter how fast the cap goes. Every year, these type of deals are overpays.
Yeah. An inside linebacker, Zach Bond, got $17 million.
I'm fine with that, especially because like a year ago, Edmonds goes from the Bills to the Bears for like 16-ish. That position I don't think has gone through the roof.
Nick Bolton got 15.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. He's kind of a part-time player too. They got a bunch of linebackers.
Here's the thing. Like, what did the Steelers get Queen for? Like
I thought 13 it was like 11 or 12. Yeah.
It was like 13 and change. I mean, that deal looks like a bargain.
Yeah, just 1 year.
Jermaine Sherwood got $15 million.
He's had one good year. It was a good year, and he's a nice player.
You can say the same thing about Bond. He's had one good year.
True. I mean, Bond was a great year, though. Yeah. And they won the Super Bowl,
And Robert Spillane got $11 million.
I know. It's a little crazy to me.
Robert Spillane.
Yeah. He did play better for the Raiders than the Steelers. He still is what he is.
He's still Robert Spillane.
Yeah.
He didn't get faster. He didn't get better in coverage. It is what it is. Okay. Cornerback. Some big money here. 4 guys getting $18 million a year. That was the going rate here for the top corners. Charvarius Ward, Byron Murphy, Paulson Adebo, Carlton Davis all got $18 million per.
I brought up Adebo a bunch in free agency thinking he'd be a tier 3 corner, not a tier 1 guy.
$18 million a year.
That's insane to me.
For a guy that gets targeted 100 times a year.
Right. We talked about like Murphy and those guys. Like, okay, if you're going to spend good money, Steelers, those are nice targets. I'm like, wow, I think you can get Adebo a heck of a lot cheaper. No. I say I'm not close to the market on that.
DJ Reed, who everybody thought was going to get the most money on this, and got 16.
I don't hate that.
And Nate Hobbs, who's a slot, got 12.
It's an awful lot for a slot, too.
Yeah.
Some of these teams have too much to spend.
The corner spending was insane.
Yeah, it was.
Why did the Steelers sign Darius Slay? Right there's why.
That's why, right. None of those are great players. They all have been useful
players. They're all good players.
Right, they're good players, right.
They're not $18 million a year.
They're a bunch of number 2
corners. You're not
paying
them more than Minka.
Right. There are a lot of number 2 corners.
Yeah. That's insane. It's safety. Trayvon Moehrig got $17 million.
Yeah. I like the player ascending.
$17 million.
Yeah, I know.
Javon Holland got 15.1.
See, I think that's a bargain.
That's the one that's the bargain. He's a better player.
I think he's one of the top 5 safeties in the league. I don't know what the hang up with him. Why isn't he getting make of money?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Cam Byam got $15 million.
He's fine.
And Talanoa Hufanga got $15 million.
He's an interesting player, but he's been injured and he's a box safety. He's not
so when people complained all last season, Minkah Fitzpatrick's overpaid. Not according to this market.
No, right.
He might be a damn bargain.
Right. I forget who I was listening. Might even been Cosell. One of the guys I really trust that's an all-22 dude was talking about the safeties in the league. This was months ago. And he compared it to baseball, like a 5-tool player. And I guess whoever I was listening to is like, boy, I was talking to all these defensive back coaches, and they think there are 2 5-tool safeties in the league, Minkah and Holland. There's other great ones, but guys that can do it all, can hit for power, hit for average, everything extremely well. They think there's 2 of them. At that price, I'll take Holland. But I'm telling you, folks, Minkah's very, very valuable.
Very valuable.
Yeah.
So that's basically your first and second team thus far, all free agency team.
Mm-hmm.
How many games would that team win?
Oh, 6. Who's the quarterback? Darnold, I guess.
Darnold's your quarterback. You got Aaron Jones. Your skill position players are okay. You got Darnold, Jones, Chris Godwin, Devontae Adams, Darius Slayton.
The O-line stinks, though.
Evan Ingram's your tight end, but your O-line is Dan Moore, Aaron Banks, Drew Dahlman, Will Fries, and Ronnie Stanley.
It's a below-average NFL line.
Yeah. Your defense, you got Sweat and Khalil Mack as your edge.
Mm-hmm.
Milton Williams and Osa Odighizuwa as your interior guys. Zach Bond, Nick Bolton at linebacker. Ward, Murphy, and Adebo as your cornerbacks. Morig and Holland as your safeties.
It's a good team, but there's no stars.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good team.
Because this year's free agency.
Right.
There were no stars. There weren't star players out
I mean, even if T. Higgins hit free agency and you threw him on that team, they wouldn't be way better. You know what I mean? Like, comparing them to real NFL teams, which is just kind of a fun exercise. It's an odd time of year. They don't have holes.
No, there's no holes.
Right.
It's an okay starting
It's an okay starting lineup.
It's an okay starting lineup.
Right.
Yeah. Your defensive front is good, but not great.
I mean, Odighizuwa was the 15th best 3 technique.
Yeah.
I mean, none of them are stars. None of them are game changers.
Yeah. Milton Williams started 7 games.
Right. And he's like your best player.
Yeah.
I mean, him and Holland are like your stars. Right. Those are your best guys. That's your Cam and Minkah, without a Watt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're hole fillers,
Yeah. So, I mean, while it's nice to look at this and go, hey, spend, you got to be smart about your spending.
Mm-hmm.
How many of these guys are going to be cut within
that's my next question.
3 years?
Oh, 75% or more. I would say within 2 years. I think most of those teams get 2 years out of them, and they'll start questioning it after year 1. Like,
ooh, we might have paid too much for this guy.
Yeah. Like, he better really be good.
Some of them will be happy.
Some of them will be happy, but it doesn't mean they'll see the last year of the contract.
Right.
Very few do.
Because you're just going to be too expensive.
Yeah.
No matter how much the cap goes up, you can't pay average talent above average salaries.
Right. No matter what situation.
Yeah.
It's quarterback market. Any hint whether it's here or not, what do you think Rodgers and Wilson come in at per year? I don't know if are they
30.
more than Darnold or under or ahead of Darnold, below Darnold. I think Wilson's below.
Yeah. I think
They're
your
both
numbers
over Fields.
like 35 and 30 or 25. Between 25 and 35.
I could buy that. Yeah, I think that's logical. More than Fields.
Yeah.
Both of them, I would think. Definitely Rodgers is getting more than Fields. Darnold's probably worth the most.
But there'll be deals that you can get out of after 1 year.
After one.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that adds up. I think that's probably fair. But who knows when that'll happen?
Not 40 or 45 that some people
No,
are
I
throwing
don't think so
around out
either.
there.
No. It'd have to be super incentive laden.
I mean,
I would.
Bowl. Here's the thing. I would pay Aaron Donald. My offer to Aaron Rodgers right now, I'm looking at Sam Darnold's name and saying,
Yeah, we could convince Donald to come back
That
too,
would work
right? He's
too.
probably floating around town.
is slightly above what Sam Darnold got.
Yeah, and he should say yes to that.
I think he's a better player than Sam Darnold.
I think he gives a better chance to win today than Darnold does.
Yeah.
I do believe that. Yeah, less risk. I mean, I'm sure Seattle's looking at Darnold like maybe he's our long-term answer forever and ever. But that's probably
But they only gave him a 3-year deal, so
probably a 25%.
they're not that
chance
sold
that's
on
true.
it.
And they shouldn't be. It's worth a dice roll, but man, 25% chance. That's true. And they shouldn't be. It's worth a dice roll, but man, 25% chance. That's true. And they shouldn't be. You know, it's worth a dice roll, but man, 25% chance. That's true. And they shouldn't be. Yeah, I bet that's about
I
where
think
Wilson is.
Wilson gives him a better chance to win than Darnold.
Probably. Well, certainly as the way the Steelers are constructed.
As they're constructed today, right
with
now.
those receivers, yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I do.
So, anyways, let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more right after this. And we are back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, Greg Rosenthal has adjusted his top 101 free agents remaining.
Wow.
The best guys remaining, because when he first did his, at the beginning of the week, his top 101 free agents, it didn't include any of the guys who had been cut at that point.
Oh, okay. So there's some new names.
There's some new names on there.
Okay. Let's buzz through it.
Yeah. So still remaining.
We don't have to, break down every guy, but I mean, I'm curious, who would you have some interest in the Steelers starting to call?
His number 11 guy, Amari Cooper, is still there.
Okay, so now he's one, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
His number 21 player, Asante Samuel Jr., is still there.
He's visiting somewhere today, or he's linked to somebody today. I'm out on that, though, after two signings.
They could have signed. Here's the thing. The Steelers could have signed Asante Samuel Jr. probably to a $10 million a year contract.
He would sign that right now.
Right now.
Right, yeah.
He's not worth it.
Right. The injuries, and he's not much of a run player either.
Yeah. At 25, so this is where this guy would have come in at on his initial rankings.
The initial ranks.
Aaron Rodgers.
I understand that, and you have to put age involved with this.
At 27, Cam Robinson is still
out there. Man, I mean, he's not great. Does he think he's better than he is? I mean, he got traded at the trade deadline. There's a lot of tape of him from two teams. I would think he'd have gotten 10 by now or something.
Yeah, he's only 29.
Right.
Dan Moore got more.
Pedigree. Right.
At 28, Stephon Diggs.
I'm not saying I'm interested for the Steelers, but I still think he has football left in him.
At 29, Tevin Jenkins. I think he's visiting Seattle or somewhere.
Yeah, it is Seattle. Some really guard-starved team.
Yeah, he's not good.
He was bad at tackle, and now he's okay at guard.
Yeah. At 34, Calais Campbell. And yes, I would have some interest in Calais Campbell.
Yeah. I mean, culture, 1 year, old as can be, and everyone can be like, oh, they got the league's oldest defense. If you're renting a guy for 1 year, I don't care how old the defense is. You know what I mean? I'm going to play him 20
He's off
snaps
your books
a game.
next year. If he signs again somewhere else next year at 40, then you're going to get maybe a comp pick back.
Right. Just put him in the mix, and he can still play. Is the thing.
I just think have you ever heard his voice?
It's crazy.
Oh,
yeah.
It's like the voice of God.
I mean, if they brought in him and DK Metcalf, the demeanor would change. I mean, those are off the bus guys.
First dudes off the bus.
Oh man,
right.
He'll block a kick.
Let alone him and Cam as well.
And yeah, exactly. Walter Payton Man of the Year. And, yeah, sign me up for him.
At 45, Azeez Ojulari.
Yeah, I mean, he would be a 3-4 edge guy. Yeah.
52 is Mekhi Becton.
I'm shocked he hasn't gotten more.
He must want more than what he's actually worth.
I imagine. I mean, I bet Robinson's thinking the same thing. Like, we're O-linemen.
Yeah, we're offensive tackles.
Right. You can't get those guys,
What do you mean? What do you mean I'm a guard? No, I'm a tackle. No, you played guard last year.
You were a guard last year. I don't think he's a Steeler, obviously, but he'll get hired.
54 is Jameis Winston.
I mean, I respect his game. He's going to be someone's backup.
He will not be the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
No question.
Can't do that.
No, you can't do that. Where is the fit? I don't think he goes back to the Browns, or that probably happened. Or they not after the Pickett trade.
He's a 2 somewhere.
Oh, he's a 2, yeah.
He's Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's the modern-day version of Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Maybe he's like a giant if they draft someone, or I don't know. Yeah. Where does he go?
He'd be a fine mentor for the number 1.
Oh, no question. No question.
But
maybe Cam Ward's backup or something like that. I don't know.
But he's not for me, and I don't think he'll be for the Steelers.
I don't either.
This is like, how many years now have we had the Jameis Winston conversation? Like 5, 6?
100%, yeah.
Like he
is what he is at this point.
He's not getting any less prone to just throw the ball to the other team.
Mm-hmm.
He's good enough to beat you.
Oh, his best day is great.
Anybody.
Best day
he's also bad enough to lose to anybody.
Mm-hmm. And people love him. I mean, like his teammates adore him. I'm still kind of a fan, but you have to be a certain type of team.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't tolerate it here.
57 on this list is Russell Wilson. I disagree with that. I'd rather have Russell Wilson than Jameis Winston.
I'd have him right there with Rodgers in that neighborhood. You know.
62. Excuse me. Charles Omenihu.
Okay. He's more of a 4-3 end.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an okay player.
Yeah. He also has a suspension for violation of the league's personal conduct.
I wasn't aware of that. So maybe he's not a real good boy.
64. J.K. Dobbins. Still out there waiting for a deal. And a lot of the running back.
There's some brand name running
signed.
backs out there, yeah. Well, let's not say him and Chubb, I guess, are still out there. I mean,
the guys with the lengthy injury history is like, what are you going to do with these guys?
Yeah. He'll get signed somewhere. I bet he's a pure 50-50 type guy when it's all said and done.
73 is Zadarius Smith.
He hasn't fit.
No.
Wasn't great last year either.
No.
Aging.
He
could be one of those guys, too, that's made a fair amount of money. Some of these guys.
They might just retire.
Or they just wait around till camp until the right, I don't feel like going through camp, and I'll work out on my own schedule and figure it out down the road.
Yeah. 77 is Justin Simmons.
Same thing happened a year ago. He must be hard to negotiate with, because remember, he sat out there forever, deep into camp, and
he might be the poster boy for I'm going to sit out camp. And
yeah. I mean, I bet there's more going on there because it happens every year with this guy.
78 is Stephon Gilmore.
He's still okay. I mean, he's a certain type of corner.
79, Kaiser White, linebacker.
I'm a little shocked he hasn't been picked up. There's a little bit of a linebacker shortage going on.
Yeah.
I mean, people probably don't look at him like he's good enough to be an every down guy.
He's probably also 29 now.
Yeah, he's a little older than you think, too, right?
80 is Rasul Douglas.
Shocked he hasn't been picked up. I don't think he's great, but corners are in demand.
He runs very well anymore.
No, he doesn't. He
didn't run well to begin with. But
no, he's lost a step.
81 is Elijah Moore.
I'm a fan. He's another weird one. Everywhere
You've been a fan forever.
I know.
You're a fan everywhere, and every team he goes to is not.
No, it's not. I was about to say the exact same thing. No matter where he goes, he falls out of favor. He must be hard to deal with. But he's a slot guy that can get open. He must have a reputation, though.
Can he get open? Because nobody throws him the ball either.
I'm not saying he's great, but I think he's a top 4 guy on a depth chart.
83 is Brandon Scherf.
I think he's retiring.
Yeah. 84 is Keenan Allen.
I mean, he's not much different than Cooper Kupp.
Who's next on this list?
Okay.
Cooper Kupp is the next
guy on
this list.
They're both pure slots that don't run well, but they know every trick in the book,
Yeah. So you get Keenan Allen and Cooper Kupp right next to each other. 87, Julian Blackmon.
We've talked about him a few times.
Yeah, I'm surprised
he can be my third safety.
Yeah.
I think he's a good player, unless there's an injury or something.
Well, he tore his rotator cuff in week 1, so I wonder if he had surgery or is having surgery on that.
Okay, so there must be something. But
yeah,
a lot of these guys have something you got to do some digging on.
92, Tyron Smith.
I wonder if he's going to play anymore. He's had so many injuries. I bet that the ball's in his court.
He can't possibly need the money.
He can't need the money. He's probably going to the Hall of Fame. He's got back problems that are, he's one of those guys that never practices.
He can wait that out to the end of training camp or the start of the regular season, and somebody had a training camp injury and just come, I'm coming in to play left tackle. That's Flozell Adams.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I thought maybe the Chiefs would give him a 1-year deal. Let's win a Super Bowl together, but you got to keep them together with duct tape. 93
is Mike Hilton.
He ain't what he used to be, folks.
No.
I mean, he didn't run well to begin with.
He did not.
And he's taking a beating.
97 is Jedrick Wills.
I'm still interested, but I bet he's a personality. I bet there's more going on behind the scenes there. But former early first-round pick, he's got skills. Be your third tackle. I would at least be interested.
And number 101 is 29-year-old Nick Chubb.
Okay. I mean, I said going into free agency, I'd kick the tires on him. Who knows what the medical is? I mean, he's had a lot.
Yeah. Just looking at the rest of the division right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do this, folks. With Cleveland, you're looking at right now the only quarterback on their roster who will actually play perhaps a game in 2025 is Kenny Pickett. You get Jerome Ford and Pierre Strong at running back with John Kelly behind that.
Pretty rough, too.
Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, Michael Woods, the wide receivers.
Did you hear they're talking about Ayuk? Like, I don't know where the money comes from or what's going on there. If that's a deal they could actually make.
Yeah, Njoku at tight end. This is your starting offensive line.
The tight end's the only good position they have on offense.
They're moving Daquan Jones, it appears, to left tackle because they reworked.
Maybe that's Conklin's coming back.
Conklin's coming back, so
right.
you're gonna move Daquan Jones.
I'm glad we're doing this because I haven't thought about the depth charts of these teams.
Yeah, your guards are Bitonio and Teller, another year older and deeper in debt.
Holding on for dear life, though.
And Ethan Posick,
who they like. I mean, they're all a year too old, though.
Yeah,
give or take.
Defensively, you got Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
Your defensive tackles are Jawan Briggs and Malik Collins.
They cut Tomlinson.
Yeah. Your other defensive end is Isaiah McGuire.
Who did they sign, too? They signed Tryon Sharinka. I always kill he's a former first-round pick that was kind of a bust of the Bucs.
Well, it hasn't become official yet.
Okay.
He's not listed on here. Your linebackers are Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah and Mohamed Diabate, along with Devin Bush.
One good one.
They did re-sign Devin Bush.
I know they did.
Corner, you got Denzel Ward and Martin Emerson, Greg Newsome, the same group that you've had.
Yeah, and that part's good. Secondary's good.
And your safeties are Grant Delpit and Ronnie Hickman.
Thornhill's gone, huh?
Thornhill is gone.
Is he signed, or I don't know what happened to him?
He signed with somebody. I can't remember.
I didn't even realize he was up. I didn't pay a lot of attention to the safety market. It's amazing to me that they think that they're a contender. And they do have a lot of draft picks. I mean, they're going to end up with Shedeur not Sanders.
Most of them are at the end of the draft. I
mean, they have number 2.
They have number 2, and you get your second round. You don't have – well, the Browns have 11 picks. Yeah, but most of them are on day 3.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they are. They are. I mean, I think they have the Bills' third-rounder for the Cooper trade. They need a lot.
Yeah, they get the Bills' third-round pick, which is at the end of the third round.
Right, yeah.
Looking at the Bengals, you got Burrow, you got Chase, you got Higgins, you got your Cyrus, Chase Brown at running back with Zach Moss. Okay, your skill position guys.
Yeah, they're good.
They re-signed Gesicki.
Gesicki's the one that bothers me. Like, if you're going to go all in on Higgins.
That didn't even make that was like $12 million a year. But that happened way before for
Okay, maybe it didn't qualify. Yeah. Like, that's the one where you really shortchanged your defense. If you're going to do the Higgins thing, he's a great player. I get it. But don't double down and get Higgins. Or get Gesicki. Move tight ends you can find anywhere. You can draft that guy in the 4th round.
Here's your offensive line. Orlando Brown Jr., Cordell Volson, Ted Karras, Cody Ford, Amarius Mims.
Cody Ford's bad. They just brought him back, too.
Yeah.
They need Mims to be a star. Tackles I can live with. The interior's rough.
Your defense is – your defensive ends are Miles Murphy and Trey Hendrickson, at least for now.
For now.
Your defensive tackles, you're looking at T.J. Slayton and B.J. Hill.
Mm-hmm. And they drafted Chris Jenkins' kid last year.
Yeah. At linebacker, you got Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt, Oren Burks.
I can live with it. It's okay.
There's no star there.
No. I mean, their defense is horrendous.
Yeah, and Pratt's asked for a trade as well. Nobody's talking about that.
I don't think anybody wants him.
No, that's the thing. Right. At cornerback, you got Cam Taylor-Britt and Dax Hill with Jalen Davis, now your nickelback.
Okay. They need the Dax Hills and Miles Murphys to take steps forward.
And your safeties are Jordan Battle and Geno Stone.
Yeah, you got one above-average starter on defense.
Yeah.
And he wants out.
Yeah, and he wants –
I think he will get out.
Well, I've heard that the asking price is astronomical.
Well, they're the hardest team in the world to trade with.
Yeah.
So that's noteworthy.
This is the Ravens right now. Lamar, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins, your wide receivers. Mark Andrews. You still have Andrews and Likely.
Yeah. It's good skill.
Yeah. Patrick Ricard.
There's some age there, but there's good skill. I mean,
yeah.
Hopkins, Henry, Andrews.
Your offensive line right now is Ronnie Stanley, Andrew Voorhees, Tyler Linderbaum, Daniel Falele, Roger Rosengarten.
They need guards, man.
In a bad way.
And depth. Guards and depth.
Voorhees couldn't beat Falele out last year at guard. They tried.
Right.
And they gave him some starts to try, and they decided that Falele was the better player. Well, now you're going to move Voorhees to the other side. Say, be better over here.
Right. Rosengarten's gotten better. I mean, I think they're happy with him at right tackle after a shaky start. I don't like either one of the guards.
No. The defense. Nnamdi Matabuke at defensive end, along with Broderick Washington. Travis Jones also back. So those guys are all back.
I'd say the interior is pretty much the same.
You got Roquan Smith and now Trenton Simpson back in the starting lineup. After getting benched last year. Still have Kyle Van Noy.
I'm surprised they didn't just get a veteran. Well, they don't have any money, but I would say a veteran, been around the block, linebacker type.
You got Owe and Van Noy are your strong and weak side backers.
And Najabu is still floating around, right?
Good for him.
Yeah.
Floating might be the proper term there.
I'm a Van Noy fan.
Oh, he's a good player.
Yeah.
At cornerback, Nate Wiggins, TJ Tampa, Marlon Humphrey.
Yeah, they're one short. Stevens was bad, though. I mean, that's addition by subtraction, but they still need to replace him.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know if Tampa didn't do anything last year.
I read something they're looking at him maybe as a free safety.
He's big.
He's big, right.
Your safeties are Kyle Hamilton and Darius Washington.
Okay. Which is fine. Yeah. They need stuff, too. Everybody needs stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a good exercise going through there.
They just don't have any money to do anything.
They don't have any money.
None.
They're going to have to.
Like we went through the Steelers lineup yesterday, and you kind of get that. Well, yeah, they still have some holes. There's every team in the division has holes right now.
They do, and not being a great free agent class doesn't help. I mean, the names we went over as the top remaining free agents, they're okay, but they're stopgap types.
Yeah, that's what they're going to be.
Be difference makers, right?
Yeah, you're not getting. Nobody let difference makers walk this year, really.
I wonder what other shoes are out there to drop, though. I mean, like.
There's going to be trades.
There's going to be trades, and what names are we not thinking about around the league that are become available? Because there will be, guys that can help.
Absolutely. But let's get to another break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more right after this. And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And, this is interesting, Matt. So the Bills signed Larry Ogunjobi and Michael Hecht as free agents earlier this week as defensive linemen.
Sure.
2 defensive linemen. General Manager Billy Beane told reporters on Friday that both players are facing 6-game suspensions due to violations of the NFL's performance-enhancing drug policy.
Ooh.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Beane said, according to the reporters there, that the team was aware of Hecht's suspension when they signed him. But they weren't aware of Ogunjobi's suspension.
So I'm rooting for Larry O.
I am too.
I've never met him. He sounds like a great guy. He was the Steelers, nominee for Walter Payton Man of the Year, all that good stuff. But he's had a ton of injuries, and a lot of times, I'm not speaking for him, but a lot of these guys will do whatever just to get week to week. It's body maintenance or whatever, or they get bad advice or whatever. But I look at it from a GM perspective. You sign 2 guys at basically the same position. You're not going to get till week 7.
Yeah, they're both going to end up suspended. The league's not going to do you a solid here and say, well, we'll suspend this guy the first 6 weeks, and this guy will be suspended.
And then they can tag out, and the other guy hand the baton over, and you get the suspension after that. Right.
Yeah.
Like, I just gave money to these guys. They don't have a ton to begin with, and I'm not going to have either for quite a while.
Here's the other thing about them. You're talking about a team that are they, when you start talking about teams that have a defensive lineman surplus. Well, they've got those 2 guys. Gregory Rousseau.
Who they just extended.
Daquan Jones.
Yeah.
Ed Oliver. Joey Bosa. A.J. Epinesa. Dwayne Carter, who they drafted last year.
Yeah.
Javon Solomon, Zion Logue, Branson Dean.
Got rid of Von Miller.
But they got a bunch of dudes.
And that's really how they want to stress it. I mean, they want 8. They want to go 4 deep. They've always been that way. With mixed results. They live in nickel, and they want to keep bringing those guys out, keep them fresh. It's a hard way to live. And there's a wide variety. Like, Ed Oliver's a really good player. But he's small, and he's a certain type.
Yeah.
And you can't just Cam Hayward him to death out there either. You know what I mean? Rousseau looks like a hit, but he's a little inconsistent too, but they give him big money. What are you going to get out of Bosa? I mean,
you might get 6 games out of Bosa.
Yeah. That could happen too.
Yeah. So, interesting. Steelers making it official with Mason Rudolph today, a 2-year deal. He is back.
Yeah.
He's back, baby.
I would think he sticks around for both years too.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty safe.
There's no reason to
even if you have a
move
first round quarterback next year or whatever, he should be in the mix.
Yeah, and Nate Herbig.
Right.
Has reportedly signed with the Washington Commanders on a 1-year deal.
Yeah, Herbig, Skoranek, and Landon Roberts were my 3 targets to keep. But he's replaceable. Yeah, I mean, there's a guard center veteran type.
Played all last year without him.
They played all year without him.
Would have been nice to have him back.
Yeah. I mean, I like the safety
piece,
valve, not worry about that position anymore. And I'm happy Skoranek's back. We went into great detail about Harrison versus Roberts and kind of killed 2 birds. Any of the 3 I would have loved to have back. I think they all have value, but the world's going to go on. You know, I mean, they're not special players. You know?
I think the hope for the Steelers is that Spencer Anderson becomes that guy.
I always call him the better version of B.J. Finney.
Yeah.
You know, there's always that interior dude. And Anderson, I think, moves better than Herbig at this point, too. And I don't know what he's like after his injury. And, again, I'm not going back on my words. Those are the 3 I would have actively pursued. But I also know I don't know medical, and they do. And if his medical worries them a little or his rehab, I mean, they're on top of that stuff more than the Commanders or any team out there.
Yeah.
Who knows?
No, they did yesterday. It was announced the Steelers haven't announced it yet, but the reports came out that they had re-signed Skoranek.
Mm-hmm.
So they got
Which
one
I'm
of
happy
those guys
about.
back.
Yeah. But sound like it's a 2-year deal, and good. I mean, he's useful.
So I mean, you're adding some pieces here, and I think that's we went over that free agent expenditure list, and how many of those guys aren't going to see that money 2 years from now. That's why you build your team through the draft and you fill in some of the spots in free agency. You don't try to go find stars in free agency because they don't exist.
And I don't know the contracts exactly, but I bet Skoranek and Rudolph see every dollar.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a 2-year deal and just
Yeah.
do exactly what we expect you to do, and we've been with you quite a bit. We know what you do, and if you're a number 2 for us at quarterback for the next 2 years, even if we take one in the first round or whatever, or Aaron Rodgers is the MVP this year or whatever. I mean, you're still what we think you are, and we know what we're buying, I guess is the way to put it. And same with Skoranek. I mean, he's a really, really good special teamer, and he's frankly better than a couple of receivers they've trotted out there the last couple of years, that they've lived with,
So, I mean, so those are the moves. Again, not splashy moves, but necessary moves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got to field 53, and you need guys that have their roles. Do your job. Yeah, I mean,
those are those are very Patriot-like signings.
They absolutely are.
Flying under the radar. Yep. Nobody's going to talk about them.
You're probably going to get every dollar. All that good stuff. Yeah, do your job.
Well, let's get to a break here. That's going to do it for hour number 1 of The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. And, of course, you can hear The Drive every Monday through Friday right here on these very airwaves from 4 to 6 p.m. We'll be back again all next week. And then you get the Sunday show from the owners' meetings starting.
That's 2 weeks from now.
No, it's March 14th, bud.
I don't think. We were looking at that the other day. I meant to pull you off the air. I looked at it, and we're flying out here, and not Saturday, but the Saturday after.
Right, today is March 14th. Now you got me questioning this.
I'm certain about it. I meant to bring it up off the air because you brought it up on the air.
So next week, you're right.
Yeah, I'm like, boy, I got to start worrying about getting the owners meeting.
2 more weeks.
Yeah, 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks.
Yeah. That didn't sit with you.
I'm so excited to get to the owners meetings and find more news.
I'm pretty psyched about it too, to be honest with it too.
Get some more news out of this, but so 2 more weeks. The Steelers did have some draft visitors today. We'll talk about that in the next segment when we come back. Of course, you can also download the Steelers mobile app and get the show there and all the updated videos and all that good stuff, everything else, all the great content that's on there. And you can go to our YouTube page, leave us a thumbs up there, check that out. We like that as well. But he's Matt Williamson. I'm Dale Lolley. We'll be back with more right after this. Welcome back to hour number 2 of The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. And Matt, Todd McShay has updated his top 100 board, including his latest risers and fallers. Again, when you're talking about risers and fallers, first of all, you're not going to see guys make massive moves up.
No, right.
But they may jump ahead of somebody else.
Combine affects things. It breaks ties, things like that, too.
Yeah. His risers, Armand Membo, went from 13 to 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Shamar Stewart went from 21 to 14.
He screams bust to me.
I can't get on that. I just did my edge rankings for our
did you?
triple
I'll
take.
probably do him over the weekend, yeah.
I put him in at 5, and I did it begrudgingly.
I was sitting there thinking, like, will he be in my top 5? I don't love the group. It's all good.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be that might be the toughest rankings yet.
Yeah.
I come to think of it.
Matthew Golden went from 25 to 15.
I kind of am mad at myself that I kept Golden at 2. I think he should have been my wide receiver.
Here's the thing about Golden. He had more 20-yard catches than anybody in college football last year. And yet people were surprised by his 4.29.
I know.
Well, he doesn't look that on tape. I'm like, what tape are you watching?
He's right.
Like,
yeah, I mean,
yeah, he caught a short pass and took it because somebody had an angle on him. But he can run.
So to tease it, I mean, I did a first-round mock. We're going to do a triple take mock next week. I had very few. I only had 2 receivers go in the first round, and McMillan went late. I had Golden going to the Cowboys at like 11 or 12.
I think I had more receivers in that just because of need.
There's
some
I felt
teams
weird not
gotten
having
shut out.
Burden or the Ohio State dude, but it's the way it fell. There weren't many in there.
Donovan Azareku, the edge rusher out of Boston College, goes from 40 to 30.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Maxwell Hairston goes from 42 to 24. That's the kind of jump.
That's what scares you.
Yeah, I think teams know all about Maxwell Hairston.
He's still a little slight.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew he was going to test well. I did put him in at the end of the first round, and he wasn't in my first mock, but there were other corners that could have went in that spot just as easily.
He's healthy.
Yeah. That's why I didn't put Ravel in. That's exactly what it came down to.
Both Iowa State receivers.
They're growing on me.
Jaden Higgins goes from 46 to 28, and Jalen Noel goes from 48 to 35.
Wow. So basically borderline first, second round grades on both those dudes. They're really different. I don't know if the Steelers will get either one, but pre-Metcalf trade, I was interested in both.
Yeah. Trey Amos goes from 93 to 48.
That's a crazy jump. But
yeah.
I'm a fan. I like him quite a bit.
DJ Giddens goes from unranked to 93. Jonas Sanker, safety out of Virginia, goes from unranked to 94.
Okay. That could have meant they're 101, though,
And defensive tackle Tyrion Ingram Dawkins from Georgia goes from unranked to 100.
Yeah, he was blocked there, right.
He tested better than all the other defensive tackles. Yeah, because he was 30 pounds lighter than all the
everybody
defensive
else,
tackles.
too. Yeah, some of the groups get skewed.
That's where you get into trouble. The guys who have fallen on McShay's rankings. Shadur Sanders goes from 19 to 20.
No,
Didn't fall that far.
Right.
Tyler Booker, the guard out of Alabama, goes from 18 to 22.
His testing was real bad.
Yeah. Caleb Johnson, the running back out of Iowa, goes from 45 to 50.
It's not drastic. His testing wasn't great.
Yeah.
He's his own runner.
Jordan James, the running back out of Oregon, goes from 92 to unranked.
That one I understood. I mean,
4.55 for a guy you thought was going to be a 4.45 guy.
Yeah, like his was flat out disappointing.
Yeah. Looking here at his big board, he has Abdul Carter number 1, Travis Hunter number 2.
So it's funny. We went through my mock today on our podcast, and almost everyone in the top 10 has some big question to answer. Like Carter didn't even weigh in. He's got this injury. Like every one of these, half the dudes haven't run yet.
Yeah. What's
Mason Graham's height and weight? Or what's he really going to play at? I'm like, all these guys still have all these questions out there.
Mason Graham is 3.
Okay.
Ashton Genty 4. Tyler Warren 5. Cam Ward 6. 7 is Jalen Walker, the edge rusher out of Georgia. 8 is Colston Loveland, the tight end out of Michigan. 9 is Jahdae Barron, the cornerback out of Texas. 10 is Armand Membo, the offensive tackle out of Missouri.
I like his chance of being first O lineman off the board.
Omarion Hampton, 11.
Safe. I mean, there's no questions with him compared to some of these guys.
Will Campbell, 12.
The arm length.
Jihad Campbell, the linebacker out of Alabama, is 13. Shamar Stewart, 14. I can't get on that. I just can't. Let somebody else make that mistake.
Right.
If he hits, great. But
I made the joke today because I said in the mock I put him to Atlanta, and I kind of said, I know this is an overreaction, but if he would end up with the Eagles, he'll end up being Reggie White. If he ends up being the Atlanta, he'll never get a sack again in his life. You know, like, who's going to coach him up and what environments he go to?
Matthew Golden at 15, top wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Williams at 16, the number 4 edge rusher. Mike Green out of Marshall, the edge rusher. That's his 5th edge rusher.
Yeah, there's a lot of edge.
James Pierce Jr. Out of Tennessee, that's his 6th edge rusher.
I mean, there might be 4 or 5 off the board when the Steelers pick.
Nick Emuwari, the safety out of South Carolina, is his number 1 safety.
See, I don't think he's the same as the A&M edge. Like, he at least makes plays and is good at football. You know what I mean? Like, he's not just a specimen.
Shador Sanders down at 20. That's his number 2 quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan.
He hasn't run. Yeah, Ted McMillan hasn't run.
Yeah. Tyler Booker at 22. Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas. He's the number 3 offensive tackle down at 23. Maxwell Hairston at 24, your number 4 cornerback. Ted McMillan, the wide receiver out of Arizona, is your 2nd receiver. Egbika out of Ohio State, your number 3 receiver. He's down at 26. Kenneth Grant at 27. That's your number 2 defensive lineman.
I don't understand why he's not higher. I mean, he didn't do
I got him
anything
ranked
to
number
come
1
up.
in my
Yeah.
defensive line rankings.
I did the same, and basically I stole it from you because you did it first, and I probably would have on my own, but I remember you saying Graham was not your number 1, and I took a step back and just was like, would I really take Graham over Grant? And I thought, no, I wouldn't. You know, I said Grant is harder to play against and it's higher upside.
It's not like he doesn't have. It's not like he didn't have production.
Right.
And he's got better traits.
Way better traits.
Yeah.
I mean, Graham's got some problems.
Jaden Higgins at 28.
That was one of his risers, yeah.
Derek Harmon at 29.
I've come to the conclusion I think I'd take him at 21.
30 is Donovan Ezereku. That's your edge rusher number 7. So 7 in the top 30. That's the most of any position.
Yeah, which is great for the Steelers. They just want them all to fall off the board.
He has Jackson Dart at 31.
I think him and Shuck are right next to each other.
He's got
right?
Tyler Shuck at 32.
Yeah, I've listened to Todd's podcast. He keeps going back and forth of who he likes better. And frankly, he's not so certain that he doesn't like them both better than Sanders.
I'm not certain I don't.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Right.
33 is Gray Zabel, the guard out of North Dakota State. That's your 2nd guard. Malachi Starks at 34. Jalen Noel is at 35.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Connerly at 36, the offensive tackle out of Oregon.
I think he'll go high just because he's a left tackle.
Probably ends up in the first round. Same with Josh Simmons at 38.
Yeah.
They're offensive tackles. 37 is Travion Henderson. That's his running back 3.
Totally get it.
Walter Nolan at 39. His number 4 defensive lineman. I actually have him number 2.
I could understand that.
Again, I'm not going to hold a guy's. I've come to the conclusion. If you didn't have production at Texas A&M, but then you went somewhere else and had production, or you had production at somewhere else outside of Texas A&M,
right?
It's a Texas A&M thing.
It's not you.
Same thing with Scourton. Same thing with Nolan. Like
all those guys.
These guys were somewhere else and had production. They go to Texas A&M and have no production.
Right. Like
what's the commonality?
Like if Stewart would have left A&M and went to Alabama and had 400 sacks, I'm like, oh, he should be first pick to draft.
Right.
He's Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
You know, but you don't see he didn't do it.
He didn't do it,
and they pay well.
Yeah. Nolan had production at Ole Miss.
Yeah,
he didn't show at
A&M.
At A&M. Scourton had production at Purdue.
Big time.
That he didn't have at A&M.
Mm-hmm. One of the good things about the transfer portal, at least you get 2 views on these things.
Yeah. Maybe it's an A&M problem. Mason Taylor, the tight end out of LSU, is at 40. Luther Burden down at 41. That's his number 6 wide receiver.
I left him out of the first round, but I don't know what to quite do with him.
Quinshawn Judkins is running back number 4 at 42. Donovan Jackson, guard out of Ohio State at 43. Benjamin Morrison, cornerback out of Notre Dame. That's his number 5 corner. Elijah Arojo is tight end number 4 at 45. Azarie Thomas is cornerback number 6 down at 46. Darius Alexander is 47. That's defensive lineman number 5.
Okay. Pretty good D-line number 5.
Yeah.
I think he was my 5th one as well.
He was mine as well.
Yeah.
Trey Amos out of Ole Miss, the cornerback number 7.
It's a good corner group.
Yeah. Then you're looking at Tyleek Williams is defensive lineman number 6 at 49.
Depends what you're looking for.
Yeah. Caleb Johnson, running back 5.
He was my 5 too. I had both Ohio State guys ahead of him.
Josh Farmer, the interior defensive lineman out of Florida State, is defensive lineman 7. Marcus Mbao is your guard number 4. He's at 52.
He's only a guard, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Omar Norman Lott out of Tennessee is your number 8 interior defensive lineman.
Some people love him. I mean, it's just flashes.
He's a little undersized.
He's
too.
undersized.
Yeah.
He's not great for the Steelers, but
No.
I mean, he's more of a attacker.
Olufemi Oladejo, the edge rusher out of UCLA, number 8.
Really interesting player. I don't think he's for the Steelers either, but interesting backstory too.
At 55 is Ariante Ursary, the offensive tackle out of Minnesota. He's offensive tackle number 6.
He goes pretty high. He ran well when he's a tackle.
You got Siobhan Ravel Jr., cornerback out of East Carolina at 56. That's cornerback 8. Alfred Collins at 57, defensive lineman from Texas. That's interior defensive lineman number 9 in the top 57 picks.
About 5 of them are noses.
Yeah. Quincy Riley, cornerback out of Louisville, is his number 9 cornerback. Nick Scourton, edge rusher out of Texas A&M. That's his number 9 edge.
I'm glad he lost weight for the combine and looks like the Purdue version.
Then you got Carson Schlesinger, inside linebacker number 2 out of UCLA. TJ Sanders, it's your 10th defensive tackle out of South Carolina. He's at 61. Charles Grant, the offensive tackle out of William & Mary, is OT number 7. Trey Harris, the wide receiver out of Ole Miss, is wide receiver 7, down at 63. Safety number 3 for him at 64 is Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame.
Okay.
A lot of ball production. A lot of ball production.
Yeah, good point.
Landon Jackson, edge rusher number 10.
I bet there's some debates in war rooms about him. Like, I don't think he's a Steeler, but
I think I mocked him to the Eagles.
Did you? That's an interesting fit.
Yeah.
There's a lot to work with. They don't need him right now.
They like tool guys.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting.
He's got traits.
Yeah, the end of the first round.
Yeah.
Wow.
66, Cam Scatabo, running back out of Arizona State. That's RB number 6. 67 is Jack Betch, TCU wide receiver number 8. 68, Terrence Ferguson out of Oregon, the tight end. That's T end 5.
I think he was my tight end 5 too.
69, Darian Porter out of Iowa State, cornerback number 10.
Like, would you consider him in the 3rd round? You don't need anything out of him this year.
No.
Yeah, just because the other needs you're going to have.
The other needs.
Yeah.
I've taken corner off the board unless it's a late round flyer.
I'd love to have, but I don't know how you get them.
And I don't know what next year's cornerback class is going to. Might be a great one. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not even worried about that part of it.
70 is Jordan Birch, the edge rusher out of Oregon. 71, Jonah Savania, the guard out of Arizona. That's his 5th guard. No centers yet.
No.
R.J. Harvey at 72, Central Florida running back. That's his RB7.
That's pretty high.
Yeah. Braden Swinson, the LSU edge rusher. That is edge rusher number 12. Harold Fanning, the Bowling Green tight end. That's tight end number 6 at 74.
I have doubts about him. I kept him out of my top 5.
Yeah, he's thin.
Yeah, he's a good receiver against bad competition.
Shamar Turner, Texas A&M defensive lineman, number 11 there. Jalen Milroe at 76. That's QB5. Cameron Williams, offensive tackle out of Texas, is OT number 8. Shows you how, we got 11 interior defensive linemen.
Yeah.
Our next edge rusher coming up here is number 13.
There's a ton of edge too.
And we just got the offensive tackle number 8.
Yeah, and some of them might be guards.
And guard number where we at there 5.
Yeah, which goes back to our
and no centers.
Right. Why is Dan Moore getting the money he did? This is a reason, folks.
And if teams go into this draft needing offensive line help,
right, those
guys are going to go.
If you're the Bears or the Vikings and you just rebuilt your entire interior, you don't want to go fishing in these waters.
Yeah,
they're just telling you.
Jalen Royals is wide receiver number 9 at 78.
I'm a fan.
79 is J2 Maloa, edge rusher out of Ohio State. That's edge rusher 13. Ozzie Trapillo, Boston College offensive tackle, is OT number 9.
I bet he goes high just because he's a true tackle. He's a right tackle. His style.
They're going to go earlier than you think. Yeah.
His style just lasts in the league.
81 is Demetrius Knight Jr., the inside linebacker out of South Carolina. That's inside backer number 3.
It's not a very good crop.
Yeah.
And the Steelers won't be shopping in that.
Jack Sawyer at 82, edge rusher out of Ohio State. That's 15 there. 83 is Prince Yu.
Mm-hmm. More and more edge.
That's 15 edge guys. 84, there's my guy, Ty Robinson, defensive lineman out of Nebraska.
Seems like Todd's higher on him than just about anybody else.
Interior defensive lineman number 12. I don't understand it. Like guy, you tell me this guy's 6'6", 310 pounds, and he has production.
No, a lot.
And the athleticism at the combine was really good.
It was good.
What am I seeing here that the draft nicks aren't?
Right.
I don't get it.
No, I think he's gonna be a good pro.
Tate Ratledge, the guard out of Georgia, is 85.
I think he's
6.
also gonna be a good pro.
Yeah. You're safe taking guards.
In this day, yeah. He was my 5th interior.
Still no centers, though.
No.
At 87, Josiah Stewart, Michigan edge rusher. That's edge rusher number 16 in the top 20. Right. We're at 87, 16 out of 87.
I remember watching the Senior Bowl coverage, and DJ and some of those guys were like, Stewart's a potential first-round pick. And I don't think he did anything wrong. It's just
in this draft,
15th. Yeah. Right. You're not going to go in the first round.
88, Gunnar Helm, the tight end out of Texas. That's
combine.
Tight end number 7. Kevin Winston Jr. out of Penn State is the safety number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Not a great safety class.
No, it's not. I like the top 2.
Savion Williams out of TCU is wide receiver number 10. He was one of the guys in for a visit with the Steelers today.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see their visit today.
Jared Wilson is your first center. Out of Georgia, number 1 there.
But I mean, you counting on him to be Frazier or Barton or plug-and-play center?
No.
I wouldn't think.
At 92 is Ashton Gillette, the edge rusher out of Louisville. That's number 17 guys in edge rushers. 93, Jacob Parrish, the cornerback out of K-State. That's number 11 there.
That's a good player too.
Yeah. Your 5th safety is Jonas Sanker out of Virginia.
Okay, that was one 94. Of his risers, I think.
DJ Giddens out of K-State, the running back.
Where are you at on him in the 3rd round?
I like him.
I'm there in the 4th.
Yeah.
I'm not sure in the 3rd. I might need to watch him more, but he's big and explosive.
Yeah. He's new to the position. There's
There's some rawness
to him. Yeah.
I wonder what his protection is and
probably not great.
I would assume that there are questions.
Will Howard out of Ohio State is QB 6 at 96.
Okay, Milrow was 5. Okay,
yeah.
I think it was.
Billy Bowman, the safety out of Oklahoma. That's his number 6 safety. At 98, Jordan James, the running back out of Oregon, is his number 10 guy. And then Kyle Kennard, 99, another edge rusher, so 18.
18 in the top 99.
Almost 20%.
Wow.
And then on 100.
And they're going to go. They always go.
100 is Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, the Georgia defensive lineman, and that's number 13, so 31%.
Yeah.
18 edge rushers, 13 interior defensive linemen.
That's funny.
On Todd's top 100.
I remember listening to one of his podcasts before the combine, and he said, I got 30 defensive linemen in my top 100. Now I guess
it's 31.
But that's...
And there's still some guys, good players out there.
Yeah, we didn't mention a handful of the defensive tackles we like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good group.
It's a really good group.
You want those edges to go early.
Absolutely. Let
all those go.
18 edges in the top 100? Fantastic.
Great, yeah.
Tyrion Ingram Dawkins goes in the first.
Yeah, there's some of those guys too, right.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you mentioned, just at that top 100, I felt like there was 60 of them that the Steelers probably have no interest in, or that really have no chance of being
very low interest.
Right,
yeah.
right. Someone have to really break strange, the safeties, the linebackers,
Yeah. I'm glad he's got my guy Robinson up there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not smoking something on that one.
No, he makes plays.
He just makes plays. He just wrecks stuff.
Disruptive, yeah.
He's like the Army. Comes in, breaks things, and kills people.
Yeah, sign me up.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Oh, we forgot to mention who the other visitors were.
Oh, yeah, I'm not aware.
So let's save that.
All right, cool.
I want to have more of a discussion about this, but I did mention Savion Williams was one of those guys. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about the other ones when we come back right after this. And we are back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt mentioned that Savion Williams, the wide receiver out of TCU, was one of the draft visitors today.
A little different than what they have.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Also coming in were defensive tackle Yaha Black of Iowa.
That adds up.
He had a good combine.
He's a good combine. He's a massive human being in the middle of the defense. I'm glad that's the type of guy they're looking at. 4th round, 5th round, something like that probably for him. Not for everybody.
Here's the interesting one. Running back Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee.
That is interesting.
Because we've talked about Travion Henderson when we've done our mock drafts.
Right.
Well, do they want that kind of running back? Well, Dylan Sampson is that kind of – he's Travion Henderson.
Fast and he's explosive, and he's
maybe a round or two later.
Built like Jerome or Najee or those type of dudes. I can't confirm this, but I read that Tootin is also on the list to come in as well. I mean, again, these are the explosive.
Until they get here, it's not.
I know.
Nothing
That's
is
why
official.
I'm saying that. Until they're in the building.
Yeah.
But it just shows maybe they're looking for home run hitters. Gainwell's not as explosive as those guys, but I mean, need big plays. I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope you don't regret it in December when the snow's falling and the turf's not as fast as it was, but you got to create explosives. And to your point earlier, if Metcalf and Pickens are out here and I can make one man miss to take it 20 where Najee would have taken it 8, that adds up pretty quick.
Yeah.
You can keep a rotation going, 3 guys.
Well, that's the thing with Pickens and Metcalf on the field. I don't care who the quarterback is.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, it could be Rudolph.
The safeties are going to be 15 to 20 yards off the line of scrimmage. They're not. If they're in the box, the ball is going down the field.
No, I mean, it almost should be an immediate check. And,
yeah.
And that's one of the things about Russ. I mean, like, if Pickens ever got one-on-one, it was going there.
Yeah.
I mean, now you have 2 options. If you see single high, I'm just going to chuck it up there and see what happens.
I can't. Right? I'll bet you they see less than 10% of single high next year.
I would think. I mean, Seattle couldn't run the ball at all, and we're at the top of the league, and it wasn't because of JSN.
No.
He was a really good receiver. He's just not that style, and Lockett doesn't run like he used to. It's because of Metcalf.
Right.
Right.
It just puts the fear of God into opposing defenses. Well, now you got 2 of those guys.
Yeah.
Because George already did some of that himself. Like
the other beauty of it, too, and this is probably getting into even more, when you start to get predictable coverages, it becomes much easier to be a play caller, too.
Yeah.
Like, boy, we get a high percentage of cover 2. Well, we're going to practice cover 2 beaters all week.
All week long.
No kidding. Right.
Yeah. And, if you got a running backs that can get to the edge.
And even the screen game.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we didn't see a ton of it, but with the Falcons, Arthur Smith had a pretty accomplished screen game.
You know who actually throws a good screen?
Who's that?
That would be Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he has a pretty good history of it, too.
He has a good history of throwing screen passes. He's pretty good at it.
You already have 2 safeties off the ball. You get guys dropping, and you get it to Henderson, Sampson, Warren, Gainwell,
There's
whoever.
12 yards.
Yeah, you make one guy miss or whatever, but good accelerators.
Yeah, so
they got an athletic line to do it.
Might be what they're looking at. Again, teams tell you what they're going to do, given maybe they don't want another plotter.
Yeah, and you need to create explosives.
Yeah.
And it's harder to create explosives against cover 2, of course. And explosives don't have to be 80-yard runs.
They do not. So there's news out there, Matt, that the changing things up here a little bit. The Bengals are close to finalizing contract extensions for Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Chase's deal will make him the highest paid non-quarterback in the league, with his salary expected to be north of $40 million.
Just a little more than Myles Garrett.
A little more than what Myles Garrett got.
I mean, it's such bad business to come out and say a month ago or whatever, we're going to make him the highest paid. And might as well do it before Parsons shows up. Because
he's going to shoot past that.
But, I mean, that's the money. Chase is that type of player.
Higgins, who's already guaranteed $27 million this year, is also going to get a new deal, which I assume is going to be more than that.
I'm guessing it's Metcalf-ish.
It's around that.
Yeah, I would think that's a jumping off point. He was probably happy to see DK's contract.
Now, it won't be $70 million in the first year that you're spending on 2 wide receivers. Right. But in future years, it's going to be that kind of salary acceleration.
I honestly don't have a problem with it. I mean, those are your 3 best players, including your quarterback. That's your bread and butter. It's not how I would build my team, but if those are the guys I drafted, I'd rather give it to those guys than the guard that Alex Kappa.
Here's the thing.
You know what I mean?
I have
a lot of needs.
The NFL today sent out the updated salary cap information
Okay.
and who has what.
Mm-hmm.
So as we sit here, the Patriots still have $101 million in cap space.
They've spent like crazy, and it doesn't even
And they
matter.
still-
it's just a drop in the bucket. It's crazy.
The Cardinals are
They
at
don't have
60.
anybody to give it to.
Cardinals are at 67.
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks are at 60.8. The Steelers right now have $44 million in available cap space.
But have to sign a quarterback.
Yeah, they still have to sign a quarterback. Way down the list here are the Bengals
Oh, I know.
at $26.8 million in available salary cap
And
space.
this might actually open a little for this year, but
I don't know if it will.
I mean, it's such big contracts. It might just be like a break even.
It might be. Chase is probably, no matter how you build this with the guaranteed money, because he's still on his rookie deal.
Right. See, I was thinking the Higgins franchise tag will come out from that, and then you're going to add to both of them. So it probably won't be massive savings this year, but next year's going to be a lot of money tied up in those two guys.
Yeah. I'm just looking up his.
I get. I mean, that's your bread and butter. That's the only reason you were even competitive last year.
Jamar Chase is in 20.
Draft better on defense.
Yeah, that would help.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase this season counts against their salary cap. It's 21.8. That's
He's a super high pick and on his fifth-year option, right?
Yeah.
Higgins is what, like 28 or something like that.
27.
27 guaranteed, right?
So maybe it goes down a slightly.
Little, right. It's not going to make them go out there and spend a ton.
We just went over their defensive players.
They didn't really improve.
They've done nothing on defense.
It's kind of like the same defense. They're just. I feel like the D coordinator was just a scapegoat.
Yeah, there's been more guys who've walked out the door, not that there's anything wrong with that, than have come in the door.
Right.
For a defense that was atrocious last year.
It was really bad. And I don't know that Henderson will be back.
Yeah.
I can't imagine them extending him.
Cincinnati's defense was markedly worse. It was probably outside of Cleveland's offense last year.
Mm-hmm.
And even that had moments with Jameis.
Yeah, they had some high points.
It was the worst unit in the AFC North last year.
Oh, yeah. I think you're saying the league.
Not in the league.
But it wasn't
not in the league,
too far
but in
off.
the AFC North. We did this about a month ago where we ranked the units.
And frankly, the Browns offense and Bengals defense were in contention for worst in the league. I mean, so they were battling
They were far behind everything else in the division.
The other six things were way better than those two bottom feeders. And again, I think a good coordinator left. And it's one of those coaches versus scout things. You know, we're drafting these good players. You're not using them right. I mean, that's what they're telling you, is they're blaming the coach.
Yeah.
We're just going to run it back with these guys, and it was your system. I don't know, man. I mean, I really liked Hill coming out of Michigan. Maybe he gets he was
Can he stay
banged
healthy?
up
Can he be?
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, Turner was hurt too, the other Michigan corner. So there's a little bit of hope, but none of them have really shown anything. I mean, like Miles Murphy, come on, man.
The rest of the division.
Retired.
Looking at their cap space available here, the Browns have $12.9 million in available cap space.
I don't know how, but
the Ravens have 11.8.
Okay, and like everyone, they got to sign.
That's basically enough to sign their rookie class.
And, a couple things here and there, filling a gap here and there. You know,
here's the thing: people are talking about the Vikings being in play for
Rodgers,
Aaron Rodgers. They have $32.8 million in cap space.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they do it.
I don't know who that even restructured. Jefferson, I mean, he's only been 1 year in. I just don't understand why.
And I don't understand why they would do it, because now you're going to retard.
I just think you're going to rock the boat.
The progress of the rookie guy, the guy that you took in the first round last year.
Right.
And you're going to say, we're going to sit you even longer.
That's way different than signing Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an all-time great ego, first.
If you're signing him, you're not signing him to say, when
he's not sitting on the bench.
Yeah, when he's back, you're going to go to the bench.
Right. No, I mean, that makes no sense to me. That's the one that doesn't add up. Like, they're the third team in it now.
The Giants have $30.45 million in cap space. So the Steelers have.
Well, they got more than those two, right?
They got significantly. They have like $15 million more than what the Giants have.
And I assume if the Vikings or Giants did it, then you're done. The Steelers wouldn't have to be done after a Rodgers deal.
Yeah. Yeah, just with the way you're going to structure that thing.
Mm-hmm.
You could again. So But that's why the Steelers haven't been more active. They got to get the quarterback under contract. Know exactly what they're going to be paying him before you move forward with some of the other stuff.
It would have been nice to have that done a while ago.
Would have been good.
Obviously.
Yeah. Absolutely. But you also don't want to be the Jets and paying
No, I don't like the Jets are sitting
subpar quarter. Maybe he's good.
Maybe.
Justin Fields, $30 million.
It's a rough environment, too.
Yeah.
And they need a lot.
Absolutely. Let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I'm Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. When we come back, we'll hear from a new Steelers wide receiver.
Cool.
We'll do that right after this.
First, we just want to give a big thank you to the Rooney family, Mr. Omar, and Coach Tomlin for giving me this opportunity just to, bring my talents and showcase my skill set to the AFC North.
Questions? DK, what led to the decision that you wanted to make a change?
I think just me, like I said, man, these guys showing interest. Coach Tomlin, Mr. Omar, and Mr. Rooney all hopped on the phone with me Sunday, and it just felt homey, felt welcoming, that they wanted to bring me to this historic organization, and, everything was just snowballed from there, and brought me here in front of you today.
DK, the AFC North is known as a top physical division. How do you feel like you fit into that?
I think my play style just speaks, to all those words that you just said. I'm a physical receiver. Big shout out to my pops, who was an old lineman in this league for a little bit. So he instilled that in me, and I just try to play the game a different way. And just God blessed me with the talents and with this opportunity. So I'm not going to take it for granted.
DK, in terms of your decision to extend your contract as long as you did here, what questions did you ask about the state of the quarterback position, and what were you told that made you feel comfortable in doing that?
Right. Like I said, man, when I hopped on the phone with those three great gentlemen, they made me felt welcome first off, and then secondly, they made me feel like they had the right decision, with who was going to be throwing me the football. And I'm not making a decision in the quarterback room, so I'm just going to try to do the best of my abilities to help whoever they have out there throwing the football. So they make the correct decisions, to bring the quarterback in here. So I'm just going to roll with that.
When you made the request for a trade, did you hope or have an idea that the Steelers might be interested? And kind of what was your reaction when you found out for the first time that was an option and was in play?
Yes, man. I felt ecstatic just to hear about the Steelers because I thought back to the meeting me and Coach Tomlin had at the 2019 Combine, and he just always spoke volumes into me and spoke of my play style in college and just being in the league and going up to him before after a game, and he kept that same rapport with me, and it just felt like the right decision for me.
What do you remember about that meeting? Did you think that you were going to end up in Pittsburgh back then?
Everything comes full circle, in this league or in life, and it just felt right, just hearing his voice again, and just seeing that same excitement from the Combine to 6 years later. He sees the type of player that I am. He's a football guru. He watches film, and my play style, I think jumps off the tape to him. So, just to be in the same realm or organization to where I felt wanted, was a big plus.
DK, you played with some good receivers previous, some very good ones. What's the dynamic when you have multiple guys that want the ball, and how do you envision it working out with George Pickens?
Yes, sir. Football is the ultimate team game, first off. So, you shouldn't be on a team if everybody doesn't want the football. I will say that, and just to come into this organization, just to know George from the little conversations that we had in passing, great player, watching him from afar. The receiver coach calls him Freak Show, and I think that's a fitting name for him. With the circus catches that he makes. But I'm just here to try to instill any wisdom or any knowledge that he allows me to, and vice versa. I feel like it's some things that I can learn from him that he does. And like you said, I played with great receivers like Tyler Lockett, Freddie Swain, Josh Gordon was on the team my rookie year. So I've been around some very talented receivers to where I know how to take a backseat and learn from guys like that, and willing to do the same if the case may be that here.
DK, what kind of conversations have you had with joining the Steelers about the importance of being a leader for this offense and this team?
I don't think many conversations needed to be had. Like I said, Coach Tomlin watched enough film to where he recognized the player that I am first, and the leadership skills will come, as they need to be. But we're here to win games. We're here to, win as many games as we can. So, that's why I'm here.
Did you try to barter for number 14, and why did you?
No, sir. He's been here. He's made a staple in the number 14. I'm not trying to, take away from, anybody's legacy. Just trying to help build mine.
But what about 4? Does that have any significance?
Oh, no, sir. It just looked good.
Did you seek any advice from Russ about what it was like here, and what sort of feedback did you get from him about being a Steeler and about his future here?
Well, we haven't talked about his future, number one, but talked to Russ yesterday. Proposed my fiance, and he was the one that connected us. So he was just telling me congratulations, giving us a congratulations on that. But last year, I think like halfway through the season, me and Russ had a conversation about how it was living here, and he just told me that I would love it here, and I'm waiting to find that out.
You proposed yesterday?
Yes, sir. She right there. Hold it, rock up, baby. Yeah. Yes,
Where did you propose? Did you propose back in Seattle, here?
No, her and her my family and her family was in Houston. It was my sister's spring break, and just thought about getting the whole family together just for a big kumbaya and joining our families, with the ring.
They got good.
Thank you.
Did you know? How far in advance were you planning? Was this like before the trade request and everything?
Oh yes, ma'am. Well, I tried to last year, but she's a singer, and her work, kind of conflicted with the schedule. So just tried to take an approach to where a schedule couldn't matter. So I started sending her flowers with a story, and then the last letter on the flower was, "Will you marry me?" And she said yes.
So DK, how would you describe what this week has been like?
Starting with Sunday, great. I don't know too many more words other than great. It's just a big blessing just to, come to a new home. Not discrediting anything from the Seahawks organization, because they gave me a chance to become who I am in this league, and I just thank them for that. But found a new home here. Found a new fiance, and everything's just falling in line, just the way God planned it for it to be, and I'm just excited to continue to move forward with it.
DK, did you have a chance to watch the Steelers previously? What are your thoughts about how they play, and what have they told you about the style they want to play?
I played against them, so I see the type of style that they play. They're a tough team, tough tackling team, and they're very disciplined from being on the opposite side of them. But just to be in the same locker room as some of those guys, it feels good. But even with the free agency signings that we've had, with Darius Slay, just speaking on one of them, just going against him, the battles that we had, but just to battle with him in practice, Joey Porter, going against him his rookie year. So, Coach Tomlin has brought some great players into this league, has drafted some great players into this league. So, just looking to, add to, this historic organization.
Arthur Smith had A.J. Brown in Tennessee. Can you envision yourself maybe like in A.J.'s role when he was with the Titans?
Yes, sir. I'm my own player, so just looking for my own lane in his offense. He's a great coach, had some great, exceptional players, in Tennessee and last year here. So, just looking to put my own mark on his offense.
Do you practice how you play, and does that ever get explosive, combative, contentious?
No, sir. You got to learn how to practice against your teammates, man. I try to give my teammates the best look possible. So on Sunday, they're ready, to go against somebody else. So the hard work is already done during practice.
What's the biggest thing you're proud of how you developed as far as part of your skill set over your career so far?
I just think the way that I play, it just jumps off the tape, and I've just consistently put that on film, year in and year out, and I try not to have a drop off, and I'm not going to have a drop off.
How are you health-wise now, and was the second half of the season struggle coming off the injury physically in that regard?
Yeah, no, sir. I'm not going to step on the field if I don't feel like I can be DK Metcalf. So anytime I step on the field, you're going to get the best product that I feel like I can put on the field. But the second half of the season, I was healthy.
You mentioned the history of this organization. This is one of the biggest player acquisitions in this organization's history, maybe the biggest, and they're trying to take the next step in the AFC. How do you handle those expectations expectations or pressure or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, expectations is unneeded pressure, in my opinion. I'm just going to be myself and just try to be the best person that I can be walking into this building each day and, let the chips fall where they may.
So can you clear up these perceptions that you wanted to play in a warm weather city?
Yeah, man, we never said none of that. Me and my team never said, warm city, a contender, none of that, man. We just took the trade request and moved forward with the teams that really showed interest, and they showed interest from day one. And we just built on the relationship that we had from the first conversation, and here we are.
Now that you're in the fold here, you've signed an extension that ties you to Pittsburgh for quite some time. Do you feel like it's your role, or do you feel like maybe you want to recruit a free agent quarterback, whether that is Russ or Aaron Rodgers, waiting on his decision? But do you have a message to either of those guys?
No, ma'am. I think, like you said, this is a historic organization. They've done the recruiting before I even got here. So, whoever wants to come here and try to win as many games as we can, they can join us. But, if not, good luck on the other side.
You talked about not maybe needing to play for a team that's a contender right now, but when you came into Seattle, there were a lot of guys that had Super Bowl rings. How much is that something that drives you to this day, and you're looking for in this 5 years you're here?
Yes, sir. I mean, I'm the ultimate competitor, so that's the ultimate goal whenever anybody starts a season. So that goal is not gonna change just because I'm in a different uniform. I'm still gonna be trying to be the best version of myself, trying to push my teammates, push myself each day to try to get another Lombardi Trophy here with Coach Tomlin.
Just to clarify, did you say you talked to George Pickens since the deal, or you just talked to him?
No, sir. We just had conversations in passing.
Gotcha, thanks.
Anyone else? Can you just clarify again how Russ came up as was a part of this yesterday with the whole proposal thing?
Yes, sir. So back in 2020, Russ connected me and my now fiance Normani, and him and his wife Sierra connected us. She was talking to her, and Russ was talking to me, and we hit it off from day one, and here we are.
All right. Thank you, DK.
Thank you.
That was new Steelers wide receiver, enforcer, whatever you want to call him, DK Metcalf with the assembled media yesterday, Matt, and yeah,
Impressive dude.
Impressive dude. Is open to working with George Pickens on becoming a better pro and taking him under his wing. And Slay said the same thing yesterday in regards to Joey Porter Jr. And I think
there's some value to that.
There is value to that.
Mm-hmm. And they're similar style of players. I'm sure they can. Is Wes Welker going to help Porter or help Pickens as much as like a Metcalf type? Yes, with some things, but I mean, just similar styles. Like I win this way, try it. That type of thing.
And as we talked about in the previous segment, with those two guys on the outside, you're not going to see a safety within 15 yards of the line of scrimmage ever against us when they're on the field.
Right.
It's Skoranek out there. Okay, maybe
Sure.
But when those two guys are out there,
it's going to have a massive ripple effect on the run game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it will. And also year 2 of the run game, I expect it to pay off.
Yeah, me too. But, Matt, that's going to do it for the show today.
All right. I bet something happened. Well, I'm not betting on anything.
I'm not betting on anything anymore.
I'm hoping something happens over the weekend.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Absolutely. But for my partner, Matt Williamson, for Justin Miller here on site, making sure everything sounds great. For Tyler Vittmeyer, making sure our video gets out there on the YouTube. Give us a thumbs up. And believe it or not, folks, I do go on there and answer questions. I'm Dale Lolley. We thank you for listening to this edition of The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network.
Steelers football happens here. The Pittsburgh Steelers Audio Network.